What's going on, Tackle Warehouse fans? Jake here. I'm with my buddy, Pat Touey, the recent winner of the 2022 Toyota Series on Lake Havasu. I mean, the first big tournament of the year for him. I mean, just an awesome win. Won the tournament, 3-day total, 66 pounds. Let's see, 7 ounces. I had to write all these numbers down. He actually won the tournament by an 18-pound margin. He also had the biggest bag of the tournament and the biggest fish of the tournament, which is a 9-pound, 7-ounce fish. You know, Pat, congratulations. You know, awesome win for you. You know, Pat actually used to be a Tackle Warehouse employee, awesome friend of TW. We're stoked to have him do this recap here. You know, even after you've been tournament fishing for I don't know how long, you know, like this is the biggest win of your career. How long have you been at this?
Long time. I started fishing co-angler when I was like 15 for National Guard, and then about 18 is when I stepped up to the front. So it's been a while.
A long time coming. So, I mean, we're going to get right into this recap of, you know, what he was doing, you know, what baits you're using, all that kind of good stuff. But, you know, we're going to jump right into, let's see, practice. You know, how did practice go down there in Havasu? What were you looking for? You know, what were you expecting to be happening going on down there this time of year? And, you know, what'd you find?
Well, usually, like notoriously, late March in Havasu, mid-March in Havasu is full-blown spawn deal. This year we had that kind of a lingering winter deal going on, so we had some cold weather during practice, and nothing was going on. I mean, even the guys I was staying with, Cody Spetz, and some of my other buddies are like, dude, I don't even know if I can catch a limit during this derb, and I was in the same boat, and we had one final day of hot weather, so I went and checked all my spots that I knew were notorious swim bait spots that I've learned from 2 years ago, and it was almost magical. Just everywhere I pulled up that last day of practice, they were there.
That's awesome. I mean, that's always what you kind of want to happen.
Yeah,
so going into the tournament, you know, like, you know, did everything change? Did your bite hold up the whole time? How did the tournament go throughout days 1 through 3?
So day 1 was just, I mean, it was lights out. I was catching them. I mean, I caught 2 in my first spot. I was just catching them left and right. You can tell it was obviously a good bite. We had high sun, warm weather, it was mid-80s, and but I knew coming day 2 that we were having a little bit of cloud cover, and shade lines were huge for me on day 1. So I had that in the back of my head, like it's gonna be a different day, and lo and behold, it was a different day. I had one bite right off the bat, a nice 5-pounder on day 2, and then, man, I went for like a 4-hour lull without a bite. But I just kept at it, and I told my co-angler, I was like, we're going one more spot, and if I don't catch one, I gotta go try to scrape up a limit somewhere. And we pull in, made a little adjustment, started fishing a little deeper, caught 3 in a row, caught that 9, looked at my co-angler, said we ain't going nowhere. Ended up filling out my limit, and that's how I caught that 26 bag. It was a 26-pound bag. It was about a half an hour. I went from 1 5-pounder to 26 and a half.
That's awesome. So did you have to run around the lake a lot? Did you have different?
I had like a 5-mile stretch, I would say, of the lake, and I was just milk running those cuts. They're the same cuts. I'd revisit them as many times as I could throughout the day. But that adjustment I made on day 2, I stopped fishing the steeper stuff and kind of moved more towards spawning bays.
Okay.
And once I found that one little hot spot, I kind of just anchored down in there and just did circles and got 5 bites, and they were all big ones.
Right, so this is what everyone wants to know, you know, what kind of bait you're using. You know, we know it's some kind of big swim baits, custom swim jig you had built. So we're gonna go over, you know, what kind of bait, rod and reel you're throwing it on, the whole works, you know, like, you know, what kind of adjustments did you have to make?
Yeah, so 2 years ago in a MLF event, I didn't finish too well, but I had a good day on day 2. I had 20 pounds, and it was all on this.
Well, what is this? Explain what you got going on here.
They like big gizzard shad there, what I learned. A lot of people will go finesse, throw 2-inch swim baits, but they got gizzard shad swimming around there that are up to 2 pounds, big forage. So I decided to size up my Keitechs and go to like the 6.8 size. And I just wanted something that could bulk it up and make it look more like a big swim bait or a fish, and have that extra pulsating skirt on there. So I came up with this swim jig deal, and it's basically just a swim jig with the hook cut off, and 6 Cents actually makes one this year now called the Axle.
So this one's got the swinging hook.
So this has a swinging hook.
You just cut that off.
I just clipped that off, yeah, with a pair of snips. Tied a little braid treble to the eyelet inside there, screwed on the Keitech.
You can see that right there. So what kind of, like, how heavy a braid is that on there?
65.
And
you can go up to 80, but the deal with not doing like a steel wire or a cable is that stiffens that front end of the bait. You lose that action all the way to the front. If you were to put something stiff and rigid on there, you're only going to get the swing from the back end.
Yeah.
And then it's almost like an inline, obviously the treble comes out of the bait, so they're not getting that much leverage. It can spin as many times as it wants.
And what like size treble hook you put on there?
This one is a 3. Owner just came out with those new Zo-Wire hooks, and I really like them. They've got a different bend to them. It's like an EWG bend, but even a little different. It's got almost 2 kinks in it instead of 1.
Yeah, they keep them pinned.
Yeah, it
nice.
seems like it keeps them pinned really well, and super sticky, sharp hook.
And then you put some weights there in the bottom.
Yeah, so once I built it, I was stoked on it. I was like, yeah, man, this thing looks awesome. And I tossed it in the lake, and the thing's spinning upside down, rolling. And so I didn't give up. I was like, man, it just needs something. It needs a little keel weight. So I threw 2, I think they're 3 30-second nail weights in the belly, and threw it back in the water, and it swam like a dream. And basically this one is the one I caught majority of the weight on throughout the whole week. I had the smaller one tied up for a little more clear water situations. At Havasu, you either have super gin clear water, or you have a little chalk to it. Obviously the big one with chartreuse tail was the more chalky water, and this one was the clean 20-foot visibility stuff.
And do they just bite it better with that treble hook on there versus like a regular swim jig with a jig hook on there?
So the funny thing is the big reason behind the treble hook, and you notice I don't run it far back on the bait, it's up towards the head.
Yeah.
Every one of the fish were headshotting the bait.
Okay.
And it was about 80% probably that last week, they were visual bites. So I'd see my bait coming out, see the bass behind them, and they would actually turn and eat it head first instead of coming behind it.
Okay.
Almost every one you would watch and just take it head first. So that's the big deal about scooting the treble hook up towards the head.
Cool, man. That's the information you want right there. And then like rod, reel, line, like what's the setup for throwing this kind of a bait?
So this is a Gen 3 iRod light flip junk. I would call it the ultimate junk rod. You can almost do anything besides throw a 10XD, a Huddleston, or an A-rig. Anything else you can do with this rod. But the special thing about it is it's very parabolic. They call it a flipping stick, but it's more like a big crankbait rod.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can see that, but it bends at that first eye. So those fish, obviously it has a soft tip to load it up, but then when I swung on them, they can never unload that treble hook. They'll never.
Because it loads pretty far down.
It loads pretty far down. So once you load that rod up, those fish couldn't unload it to shake it. And that was a big deal. Obviously with swim bait fishing, you're gonna miss fish.
Yeah.
And I think the rod helped me last week a lot.
But with that treble hook, too stiff of a rod, you're gonna lose them.
Exactly.
You know, and especially when you're dealing with that big of fish, you need some kind of power to haul those things to the boat.
Yep.
All right. I mean, that's pretty much going to wrap it up for, Pat's recap on Lake Havasu. Such an awesome win for him. Everyone at Tackle Warehouse super proud of him. Me and him used to pack orders in the back, and when I started, Pat was one used to have to help me find bags of worms when I couldn't find them 8 years ago. I think even the first tournament I ever fished was with Pat. Out on
Fished
the
a couple
Delta.
frog tournaments
Did
together.
some frog tournaments. We've got our butts handed to us. All kinds of stuff. Oh, if you didn't know, Pat Touey is also the owner of Villain Bait Company. They make swim baits. If you guys fishing any kind of clear water reservoirs, if you're looking for any kind of like those 6-7 inch swim baits all the way down to, I believe the small one's a 5-inch swim bait, line throughs, top hooks, weedless swim baits, they're pretty awesome. Make sure you guys go and buy some. Pat's also got a kit on the way, so it for sure needs to help sell a few more swim baits, but don't buy any of the hitch color ones because those are the ones I want. They're always gone.
I got you, man. I got you.
All right. It's going to wrap it up for today's recap. If you guys enjoyed this week's video, hit the like button. If you want to see more recaps like this with, some of the tour level guys, some of the Toyota series guys, we'll try to get more, interview style videos like this with some of our guys that are out there on the Bass Pro Tour, Bass Elite Series. So let us know down in the comments if you enjoyed this week's video. Thanks for watching. Tight lines.